convinced that we're going to have another war where we have 250,000 people. But what I do believe is because of the velocity of instability, as you said, is increasing. And what that means is a couple things. We have to be able to respond quicker because the instability happens faster and reaction has to be quicker. So we have to be able to probably do simultaneous, smaller operations around the world. Today, we have named operations on 5 separate continents going on today. So in the future, what we have to be able to do as an Army is move very quickly in order to provide a cross-domain capability to provide effects on the ground. And so although it might not be 150,000 in one place, it could be 15, 20,000 in 5 different places. And I would argue that's actually more difficult because you have to understand the region that you're in. You have to understand 5 separate regions. So you have to develop expertise in those areas. You have to have a force that can be capable of operating in several different environments. I often joke, and you mentioned about the Cold War earlier, when I was a young officer in the 80s, 70s and 80s, with the Cold War, in a lot of ways it was much simpler. We knew exactly who our enemy was. It was the Soviet Union. We knew where we were going to fight them in Europe. We knew what capabilities they had. We knew exactly where we were going to be. Today and in the future, we're not going to have that. We got to be able to respond to many different places, not necessarily known. So that requires us to be more adaptable and flexible. We have to have organizations that are more adaptable and flexible. What makes the Army different than the Navy and the Air Force, I would say, we're platform-centric, is the Army is about developing people who operate in organizations to gain effects on the ground. And so for us, we got to develop our individuals, our leaders and our soldiers, and then we got to organize them in ways that enable them to be effective in gaining effects on the ground. And so we have to be able to do that maybe in Korea, maybe in Iraq, maybe in Syria, maybe in Eastern Europe, maybe pick your place around the world where we might have to use them. And so all of those are very different environments. So what we have to do is we have to make our soldiers more regionally astute. So we're starting to regionally align forces so they understand regionally what's going on. And they understand it's not just militarily, it's culturally, it's economically. So they understand all the second, third order effects. And I also believe that in the future that what we have to deliver is the ability to integrate and synchronize interagency effects and multinational effects. And so we have done that over the last 10 years, but we have to do it much better than we have. And so we have to not only be able to synchronize